Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's indeed my pleasure to invite you to this morning's session. My name is Yahaya Mekori. I'm the partner at Law Alliance based in Nigeria here. SiGMA is hosting an African Roadshow, and the topic today is called Looking to the Future, the African Marketplace Perspective. And to do justice to this topic, for those who are aspiring to look into the African market, we have three distinguished panelists this morning. It is my pleasure to introduce the three of them. To start, I'll introduce Ms. Amni Swedi. She is a founder of Shekina Law Group based in Tanzania. They are legal and an investment firm with experience in the gaming industry across East Africa. Amni, it's my pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you so much, Yaya.
Yeah, and also to help with us is Jakub. Jakub is the head of legal Endorfina based in Czech Republic. They are into online casino. Before then, oh no, sorry, but Jakub is a member of the International Masters of Gaming Law. He's also an active member of the Intellectual Property Law Group and the Gaming Group in Czech Republic. Jakub Melochevinik. Hope I got the name well. Sorry. Pleased to have you here.
Hi, thanks for having me. Actually, the last name is Kolomichenko, but no worries about it.
Okay, thanks for the correction. And then last but not least is Kingsley Jovelin. Kingsley Jovelin is based in Nigeria, runs a fintech company. Before then, he had experience working with 1960bet. 1960bet was a big brand in Nigeria about 4 or 5 years ago. Obviously, he's now shifted or moved to the fintech space, and we really welcome your experience in this. Kingsley, welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Yahaya.
Yeah, okay, so panelists, so let's just start. Looking to the future, the African perspective, or the African market perspective. Amni, to the best of my knowledge, what is the market? What does the market look like? I mean, compared to when you started off in the market and what it looks like now, what is your own assessment of what the market is like, the gaming market?
Okay, thank you so much, Yaya, for that question. There have been a lot of changes, I think, the last years that we've been advising foreign companies in the East African region. So I think the assessment has been that there's been a lot of regulatory instability because there have been a lot of changes in regulation. But it's important to note that some of the changes were inevitable. For example, when you look at the jurisdictions of Kenya and Uganda, they were operating on very outdated laws. So, for example, in Kenya, operators found themselves exercising or engaging in online gaming activities, but with no clear regulatory frameworks. So the situation was not very ideal. So certain of the regulatory changes just came about because it was just time for change. But I think that what has also been made, what we've been seeing in the headlines a lot, has been the threats of banning of the gaming industry, especially to foreign investors altogether. So you'll recall that I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, 2 years ago, I think, this had occurred in Uganda. And then we're seeing the ongoing, some of the ongoing legal battles between some very big operators in Kenya, for example, and Kenya had with the government, and Kenyan government had actually gone a step further of just not revoking some of the licenses of some operators. So yeah, I think that you can say, and in Tanzania as well, there was the ban for advertisement. I think for those kind of following the market, they can clearly remember that. So yeah, I think it has been quite unstable. I mean, there's been a lot of changes. However, what we have been seeing is that companies through their associations have been engaging with the government, and we have seen as a subsequent of those kind of government reactions, new regulations coming in place that kind of reflect more or less the sentiment of all the stakeholders as well as the government. And just in terms of like the instability, I think that we can say that it's due for both sides. I think regulators in given jurisdictions sometimes, make very reactive decisions of like outright prohibition. But also, I think that we have been seeing that certain operators have been engaged in clear abuses as well, which has resulted in the government kind of taking the reactions that they have. So all in all, it's been, I'll say that it's been unstable, but we're moving towards stability.
Okay, great. Cool. So let's talk to Yakub. Yakub, obviously, the African market is of interest to you. Is there any kind of background? Have you ever kind of African experience so far? Also just need to highlight that we know that online casinos are not as big. While we know they're growing, they're not as big as sports betting in the African market. What has been your experience so far?
Well, our experience, because we are the slot games developers, online, strictly online, and there's not too much regulation, especially for the suppliers or providers of the online game in Africa. There are some, for example, in Ghana, there is a requirement that the software offered by operators should be certified, but there is not too many specific information for us to navigate through those rules and requirements. So for us, our experience from African market is that it's not that strictly regulated as, for example, in Europe, as where we are usually distributing our games. But it's not necessarily the good thing, because what the regulation gives you is that it gives you the how to navigate yourself through all those requirements which are necessary. So basically, when you fulfill all those requirements, you are sure that you are compliant with the market, and then you don't need to worry about whether there is something or if you are doing not allowed. So our experience in a nutshell with the African market is it's still sort of a gray zone for us, especially for the online suppliers, and we kind of hope that there will be much more rules or information for us which we can fulfill and basically could be sure that we are compliant with the market.
Yeah, but wouldn't you think that the lax regulation is a good opportunity for a company like yours, especially when you consider that online casino games are still lags behind sports betting? Isn't that an opportunity for you and your company?
Yes or no? Of course, it's the easy way to get to the market, which are not regulated. So we can say, yeah, sure, we can go ahead and we can do whatever we want. But on the other hand, the regulation is coming sooner or later. The world is getting regulated, and we don't want to make ourselves bad reputation by being not compliant or not responsible as we want to be. And also, even not mentioning that we have high standards for the responsible gambling and being compliant with the regulation. So this sounds like an interesting opportunity for short term, but this is not the sprint. This is the marathon, and in a long way, it would be better to have the regulation to be sure what is allowed and what isn't.
Okay, great. Thank you, Kingsley. I think you have so of course, looking at your background, having worked in 1960bet. I know that 1960bet was a huge brand about 5-6 years ago. And until then, of course, 5 years ago, I don't think the fintechs are actually gained grounds in Nigeria. How were you able to navigate that whole payment challenge? And how were you able to grow the brand as one of the first staff of 1960bet?
Thank you, Yahaya. Yeah, like you rightly said, fintech hasn't made its inroads as at that time, and we faced a whole lot of problems, especially over the weekend and off banking hours, because the Niger Delta happened to be an area where the terrains are very unmotorable and many of the areas are still unbanked. So we faced a lot of problem in moving money because it's a money-based kind of business. For instance, if the company gives you virtual funds to trade with, and then when you exchange that with real cash, you have to move that money to the company in order to get another upfront. Sometimes this becomes a very big problem. I think one of the reasons I even dabbled into fintech was the core problems we were facing then. We have to look for ways, hacks to move money over the weekend, get somebody to move money to somewhere where a head office can trust and somebody can verify that, yes, I received the money, and then we get funded. But since then, a lot of improvements have been made, many thanks to fintechs and regulations that have moved towards that area also. So yes, things have become easier now. Agency banking has grown and people can easily move money even off banking hours, but it was hell then, and we had to use hacks to get these things done.
Okay, brilliant. Let me just quickly add, but so now, your fintech, what role is your company playing in terms of improving the gaming space in Africa, Nigeria in particular, and Africa in general? Okay, what role are you playing?
Okay, first of all, Juvelin is a payment processor before any other thing, and our primary target is to promote commerce, which sports gaming is part of. About buying and selling or exchange of values. So it's part of what sports gaming does. And as a payment processor, one of our core goals or core value propositions is to defragment payments and to take payments to the hinterland. Because where I come from or where I've worked over the years, it's been a big problem. It's a problem that I've faced myself, a problem that people I know face. So even trying to solve a problem for myself is like promoting sports gaming already. And solving problem for people I know. I still have friends who are agents who call me and say, okay, we're just moving to this area. What do you think we can do to solve this? And as a company, we try to provide solutions that can get to those last miles or work with other fintechs that can get those services. So far, so good. You can easily integrate a fintech company, or you can easily integrate a gaming company into a fintech app, and a user can either play online, fund their wallet from an app easily, what they couldn't do before. Or they could probably do this through an agent. Even the POS that has terminals for gaming these days because of the improvements we've made in fintech. So far, so good. We've not achieved our goals completely, but we've done a whole lot in that area.
Oh, thank you, Kingsley. That was enlightening. Okay, let's go back to Amni. Amni, I think we spoke earlier about East Africa generally and a bit of Kenya. Let's focus on Tanzania. Tanzania has the second highest population in East Africa, I think. What is the market like? Is it a huge market? I remember some time back, Sports Pesa was meant to have entered the Tanzanian market. I knew they were big in Kenya, and I think they're in the Tanzanian market as well. What is it looking? What's the market looking like in terms of size and in terms of investor appetite, especially in the gaming space?
Thank you for the question, Yaya. So yes, Tanzania, I think right now is probably the most attractive market for gaming. Just because I think it has much more regulatory stability than other markets. And you have to also remember that Tanzania has been ahead of the game. So, for example, online gaming, casino gaming, for example, was already regulated in Tanzania from 2012, whilst other markets in East Africa are only catching up now. So in terms of the market size, it's definitely a very interesting market. Of course, given that since Sports Pesa came into the market, I think 4 years ago, there have been, this was, I think, the first big known African brand company that came into Tanzania. And what we saw after was there was a big surge of license applications, people wanting to come to Tanzania because, you know, if Sports Pesa is in Tanzania, it means that there must be something worthwhile in being there. So right now, in terms of like the number of licenses, I think we're up to like around 30 licenses for sports betting, and online casino is still very nascent. Although I mean, the appetite for investors has been more for online sports betting the last few years, but we're actually seeing that the same operators that are offering online sports betting have also been going into online casino. So yeah, I mean, Tanzania is football crazy, and sports crazy. So I think that the market is going to continue growing more and more.
Oh, thank you. Yakub, yeah, we spoke earlier on about the lack of regulation. I think that has been a bit of a challenge for you guys. I mean, having been used to operating in regulated markets. But let's look at just the market side, the operations. What are the other challenges, or what are the other benefits, or what has been the experience in the real core operations of your games in Africa? And is that something to look for? I mean, does it look bright for you? Does it look bright for your company?
Yes, of course. Africa is a very interesting market for us. It's a huge market, and it's the market which has a lot of potential. So of course, we are focusing on the Africa. To be honest, this is more of the operator point of view, and because we are supplying the games to the operators. So yes, we are pushing operators as well to focus on Africa. Our account management team is working hard on this task. And maybe the lack of the regulation is also the reason why the operators are not really into the African market, because there is one way, one thing that it sounds tempting, but the problem is that it's very hard to transfer the payments from those unregulated markets and get those money back to the European Union, because nowadays it's very challenging to get a cooperative bank, and many of the operators, same goes with us as a providers. We don't want to hurt our reputation from the banks by receiving the money from unregulated jurisdictions, or maybe from some black jurisdictions. So this is the problem, and this should be also the reason why it's easier for us to get a license, and also for the operators if there will be more licensing opportunities. So this is basically the same I was saying before. It's so much easier to get a license, pay our fees, be compliant, make sure that everything is ready, and follow the rules, and just focus on the operation of the market rather than on how do we transfer the money, are we going to be caught, what are the enforcement, how to avoid paying the taxes, and all this unwanted features of the gambling. So the lack of the regulation brings much more challenges than maybe the opportunities, actually.
Yeah, okay, but perhaps maybe if you listen to earlier discussion, I mean, she mentioned, of course, at least in Tanzania, and I think that speaks for most of East Africa. Most of the operators, or sports betting operators, are the ones applying for licenses in online casino. Possibly that's what you need to look at, because people like that already have structures in place, obviously ways and means in which they either get the licenses or they repatriate revenue outside. So as a strategy, maybe that's what you are surprised into look at, to target companies that already operating, like have full operations and don't need to go through the teething problems.
Totally, and it is also interesting feature which we do see worldwide, that and it's actually the change of behavior which the COVID brought. That most of the sports betting operators, they were often refusing casino games, saying no, we are only in the sports betting business, we are not interested in this market. But then when COVID came and most of the land-based casino has been closed, the sports betting operators are contacting us very often by themselves. They're saying, okay, now the time came to discuss the games. So yes, very good point, and very good strategy how to approach or enter the African market.
Brilliant. Let's go back to Kingsley. Kingsley, I think we're just going to start rounding up. Yes, Juvelin obviously is a good initiative. What do you see the future for the gaming market is in Nigeria? I mean, Africa. We're looking at the African market now. Do you have any plans for expansion? Secondly, what do you project to be the market size for Africa? Coming from your experience already, what are you looking at the trends and the way Nigeria in particular is focusing, or they're focusing on the game industry? What's the projection for the future in terms of the size of the industry, either as an economic contributor or as an employer of labor?
Okay, now looking at what is happening in the industry, there's been a whole lot of improvement since gaming first surfaced some 10 years ago or more. Now, there's been a lot of technologies that have come in the picture to improve the experience. Even devices, internet-enabled devices like smartphones have become a common thing. The regulations are also improving and working towards getting these things better, making sure that the hunters get value for their money and making sure that they work within the legal space. So as it is, things are moving very, very fast, and fintech is not leaving any stone unturned. Like, we are reimagining everything, how things work when it comes to payment processing, how it works no matter where you live, how things are profitable. Like, we are focused on solving problem for you the way you want it solved, rather than trying to present our own solution to you so that you use what we have. So I believe with all of this in place, things are going to change gradually, but it will be at once, but gradually. Now, within the next 10 years, I'm expecting the market to grow to as much as a $50 billion market. So far, so good. It's rising very fast, and people are coming in, but it's not achieved its potential yet, because there are still some frictions. Like sometimes people get the winning and the payment is not settled fast. That is a great killer of the business. And then when winnings are paid very, very fast, it's the business promotes itself. But one of the reasons why payments is not coming fast enough is because of a lack of investment in the space. The earlier sports gaming companies started by bootstrapping, no investment funding, nothing. They started from scratch, grew from 1 shop to 1,000 shops. So when they face problems, it's hard to come out of it. But things have begun to improve. Investors are looking into the space, and I hope things will grow very fast. I think one of the major problems also that makes discourage investment is the fact that the sports gaming companies are not building their own product. Like, they don't own the intellectual property of the software they use. But the newer solutions are coming in. Working in the tech space also, I know a whole lot of young persons trying to build things around gaming. So yeah, just are looking up.
Okay, brilliant. Amni, I know that recently you published the Tanzanian gaming market report. Just give us a bit of what that's all about, and from that report, what would be your forecast of the future and the African gaming market space?
Okay, thank you for that question, Yaya. So yes, we have engaged in doing a comprehensive market research analysis of the gaming market in Tanzania. So it's for the 2019 and 2020 year. The observation, basically the market report contains information about who the competition is, how the payment systems work, the role of telecommunications as well as service providers, just the whole ecosystem in Tanzania. The aim of that was to basically give investors an opportunity to understand the market and be able to make an investment decision in terms of how to, if they want to invest into Tanzania. So some of the key findings in the report was just that in terms of the evolution of the market, we've seen several things that definitely retail, which was a very big business. Retail sports betting in Tanzania was a much bigger business than online sports betting, but we have seen that actually retail is subsiding down, and that the future really is going to be in digital gaming and online gaming. But also we have seen with the projections of the growth of the population in Tanzania that the market size in terms of the potential customers for these companies is just going to grow much bigger and bigger. So yeah, if the report, you can find it online on our website, shikanagroup.com, and yeah, you're able to basically get a very comprehensive understanding of the market.
Yeah, and so what is your forecast of the industry? Are we looking at competing with the European market? And we shouldn't forget that the American market is also coming up as well.
Yeah, so I think that definitely I don't know about the competition with the US market. I don't think that we can really compare the markets in terms of size, in terms of like development, etc. But I think that what is going to be very interesting, and a lot of people are not focusing on that, is that currently I think there's like 39 countries that have ratified the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement. Tanzania is due to ratify this agreement, I think, by September. So it would come to 40 markets. I think the opportunity of basically the Continental Free Trade Agreement is that companies in Tanzania, companies outside of Tanzania are going to be able to freely invest and trade in other markets in Africa. And collectively, the African market is very interesting, because I think the collective GDP is 1.3 trillion US dollars. So that makes it extremely interesting. So I think as the evolution of the market is, definitely we're going to see more companies in Tanzania also going out of Tanzania and investing in other countries, just because of the simplicity of doing so, but also the Continental Agreement or area will come with a lot of facilitation from Africa Exim Bank that is providing financing facilities basically that would enable companies to freely trade.
Okay, I mean, thank you so much. Thank you so much, panelists. Thank you for your time, your contribution, and I hope that the audience will find this very interesting and instructive. Thank you very much. See you guys soon.